Hey everyone, so yesterday Shopify had their biannual event called Shopify Editions, where they announce all the latest features that they've been working on for the past 6 months. Yesterday I've just been watching their videos, going through all these features, trying out some of them, and this is the website where you can look through every single feature that they've launched, and there's quite a lot. Not all of them are relevant to you, like people watching this channel. I think you're probably on the basic Shopify plan. I doubt you're using Shopify Plus. I doubt many of you are doing app development and completely custom storefronts, themes built from scratch and things like that. So in this video, I want to talk about things that are going to affect the average Shopify store. And that's actually still quite a long list and quite exciting. Some of these are features that have been long awaited and highly requested. And some of these are actually quite revolutionary for e-commerce and quite futuristic even. So let's get started. So first, let's maybe get a couple of small things out of the way. First of all, the admin has been updated with a new look, which is nice. It's clean. I like the look of it. I think it's a little bit faster. I can't tell for sure, but it doesn't change my life, so that's that. The next thing that you may have noticed already, because it launched like a few weeks ago on the latest versions of like Dawn 10, Dawn 11, and maybe other themes, is that we have something called color schemes now. So when you go into your colors now, on your general theme settings, you'll see that rather than before, what we had was just certain colors that you could set. And now we have schemes, right? And you can go into a scheme and choose like the background color, the text color, button colors, and things like that. And each of these schemes, you can set up a variety of different schemes. And then later, when you go into a section, you can choose which color scheme that section is using, right? Which is really useful because sometimes you would have, say, something that has like a dark background and you want white text, but you've set the text on your site-wide to be like black text, and it was always kind of an annoying thing. So now for each section you can select which scheme that section is going to use. So as you can see, the black text doesn't look good here. We want to use that dark background white text color scheme on this image banner here. So that's really cool and useful. So that's color schemes. Finally, we can get on to the good stuff, starting with the Shopify Bundles app. Now, yes, this is an app, but this is more or less natively integrated into Shopify. You'll notice this a lot now and in the future. Shopify Flow is the same, and Shopify Subscriptions as well is going to be an app. But they're apps that like so seamlessly integrate into the Shopify admin that it's like part of Shopify, right? Shopify is just keeping things as a separate app so that it's kind of modular, and if you don't need it, you don't install it. If you need it, you install it, right? It's not going to like slow down your store or anything like that. It doesn't have a lot of the negatives associated with apps usually. All right, so I'll quickly show you how this works, and I'll also talk about some possible limitations of it. And it's very simple. Create a bundle, select which products you want to be in this bundle, and I have these gym clothing products that I use for an example. The leggings, the tank, the socks, 3 products, right? Let's call this the Whitney outfit, right? And as you can see, I can select which options I want to include in this bundle product, save and continue, and this is going to redirect me straight to the products section of the Shopify admin, because a bundle is simply a new product. It's just creating a new product. Everything else is just the same as your regular product page, fill out the description, add product images, and the only new thing really is this section here, which shows you which products are in the bundle, right? And then on the front end of the store for customers, it just looks exactly like a normal product. However, there are some limitations to bundles, especially right now. I hope that it'll become more flexible, more powerful as time goes on. But right now, if you've ever tried creating bundles in Shopify, if you've used bundling apps, you're probably aware of the 100 variant limit, and also the 3 option limit. So you can have, for example, size, color, and style. You can't have a 4th option on a product, right? and the 100 variants. So if you have like say 5 sizes and 10 colors, that's already 50 variants. And you'll notice that on a highly customizable product, you'll hit this limit very quickly. So stores that want to create these like mix and match, create your own perfect like set product, these limitations are still in effect. Shopify have said that they're increasing this very soon to 250 variants. I'm not sure if they're increasing 3 options to more options, like at least 5 options I think would be good. 250 variants, that's also kind of not that much. So that limits the effectiveness of this bundling app, I think. And another thing is, like, for example, I ran into this problem. I want to add a 4th product to this bundling app, and it won't let me do that. It gives me an error. So you can't have more than 3 bundle options, 100 variants, or more than 10 products in this bundle, and it won't let me save this. Okay, so those are the limitations of the bundling app. However, if you do just want to make a bundle of 3 products, like this, like in their example, coconut shampoo, conditioner, moisturizer, then it's perfect, it works, you know. So that's that's the bundling app and the variant limit increase to 250, which is coming soon. Next up, we have Shopify Flow, and this has been available for a while now, but not on the basic Shopify plan, so now it's available to everyone. And this is an automation app. So if you've ever used Zapier or Integromat, which is now make.com, then it's very similar to that. So here's an example of a simple flow. It simply checks if the inventory is low for a particular variant, and then it sends me an email if the inventory is low. In this case, if it's less than 20, it's going to send me an email. And all of this can be customized, right? So you can have different triggers. This is the trigger that whenever the inventory quantity changes, it runs these checks. You can change these checks. You can say like inform me only if it's less than 10 or whatever. And you can send emails to different addresses, different people on your team, you know, and there are so many different triggers that you can use to start a flow, right? So when orders are fulfilled, when products are created, deleted, whatever. And then there are so many different checks that you can do as well. And it's very simple to use. Then, you know, condition, check if, and then there's like a whole bunch of criteria that you can check on. So for the product, we can, you know, check any property of that product. So if it's a product of a certain type, or if it has a certain amount of options, or if it has a certain tags, right, or something in the title. And then after you've checked for a certain condition, you can get it to perform some kind of action. So this is incredibly powerful. It's almost like, I don't know, like being a developer, but not using code. You're able to automate things, right? You're able to save many hours of your time. Shopify Flow is available now. It's free, so you may as well start using it. The next thing they've announced is Shopify Subscriptions. Now, unfortunately, this isn't out yet. It's just early access for certain merchants. So I'm not able to demonstrate this to you. Maybe I will be able to get early access and then I'll make a video. But we can see what it looks like from some preview screens. It's a very simple interface for your customers. Basically, they can choose to purchase a product one time, or they can subscribe to that product. So it's not like you need to make a separate subscription product or something. You can just add these onto your existing products. The ability to subscribe and get your product every month, every 2 weeks, every week, whatever. And you can combine these with discounts, right? And we can see that in the walkthrough video as well for Shopify Editions. It's very easy to create a subscription plan. Just select the products that are included in this subscription plan. Select if you're going to offer a discount for it, how frequently it's delivered, and that's about it. So yeah, a very simple functionality, but I think that many stores will be able to take advantage of it. It looks a lot like Recharge. If you're familiar with Recharge app, this was like the leading subscriptions app for Shopify, but you know, it started from $99 a month. So many people were like, you know, if you're not sure if subscriptions are right for your business, then I think maybe many people hesitated to try it. But as far as I can tell, I think it's going to be free. I actually don't know, but yeah, I hope it is free, because that's a huge feature for so many stores. As soon as I have more information about it, I'll let you know. Now you're gonna love this next feature if you're based in Europe or you have a store with lots of markets, right? Lots of an internationalized store. So this menu here, I think everybody should be seeing it now. It's not just me or new themes. You should have this on your theme, I think. And this is called the context menu. You'll see we have a default context, and then we have one for each market, and then we have a B2B. I'll talk about B2B later, but for now, markets. Every market that you already have set up in your settings, you will see here. And what we had usually for markets is that, the pricing changes to the localized market, and the language might change as well if you've set up a different language for these markets, right? But the design is the same, right? I'm not able to create a new section for that specific market. Well, now that's changed. Finally, we switch to a different context here, a different market or B2B, and we'll see that we can add blocks and sections only to this context. So if I want my Australian customers to know some additional information, I'm going to add a rich text section to the Australia context. And it's going to say that making this change will override the default context and create a custom section order for Australia. And we see these green dots here. And these green dots mean that this particular section and these particular blocks are not part of our default context. These are only for Australia. So I can add a block here, and we see that this block is only for Australia. But these blocks are for everything, for the default context, right? So it's very cool. I think now you can do a totally custom design for every different country, and you can provide them with a lot of custom targeted information. Now as for the B2B, this is for wholesale stores. It's like the wholesale context, things that you only want wholesale customers to see. Unfortunately, it's Shopify Plus only. So if you're on Shopify Plus, you're going to be able to use this and add blocks and sections that are just for B2B, just for wholesale customers. But if you're not on Shopify Plus, then it's pointless that this is there. It's kind of annoying that it's there. It's like they're teasing us, right? You could have this if you had Shopify Plus. But anyway, that's contexts. I think this is really useful, really awesome for European stores in particular, or because we have so many markets here, or just stores that ship internationally and stuff. And again, let me know if you have any questions about contexts, and I can make a separate video on this topic. Next up, we have this button in the theme customizer that says create Metaobject Template. It sounds complicated, but it's really not that bad. Basically means that we can create pages for custom types of content. Right now, we can create pages based on products, based on collections, pages, blogs, blog posts. These are all kind of the content types that we have in our store, but we've never been able to create custom content types, have we? And that's what Metaobjects do. Metaobjects turn Shopify almost into a content management system like WordPress, where you can define a new type of content. In my case, retailers, people who are stocking my product and they resell my product in physical stores around the world. Or, for example, services. So let's say that I have a Shopify store that sells handmade leather goods. I also provide services on the side, locally, maybe in the city that I'm based in, like workshops and classes in leatherworking, repairs, and custom orders, right? And these are all services, and I don't want to list them as a product using like a product page, because that doesn't make sense. I don't want people adding to cart. Maybe I just want this as a page that displays information and then a contact form at the bottom. So now, thanks to Metaobject Templates, I can do that. And first I want to show you a little bit more about the structure of these meta objects. Let's look at repairs. As you can see, there's the name of the service, the description, and then just a small image. This guy's repairing some shoes. And these are all fields that I defined. Meta objects, they're defined in a similar way to meta fields. In settings, custom data, you'll find meta objects here at the bottom, and you can create a new meta object. I'm just going to go ahead and edit the one I already created, services. And as you can see, there's the name, description, and image field, and I can add any other fields that I want. I can add lots of fields, and I can really make it a big page with a lot of information about each of these meta objects. But for now, for services, name, description, and image is fine for me. Just want to demonstrate that you can modify these fields, right? So I filled out these fields. Now I want to create a page based on this. So here I'm going to click Create Metaobject Template, and I'm going to select that I want to base it on the services meta object. This is just for SEO. The page title, it's going to be the name of the meta object. The meta description is going to be from the description. That makes sense. And then here we can change what the actual URL of these meta objects is going to be. So it's going to be yourstore.com/pages/services/the name of the service. Right? So create template. And now I can go ahead and just add sections as I would to create a normal template. I'm going to use the image with text because I want the image of the service, the name here. And then I also just want a contact form at the bottom because when people are interested in this service, I just want them to contact me. There's not going to be an add to cart or anything like that. So here, when I click add dynamic source as I would normally with meta fields, what I see instead is those fields from that meta object. So this is the name of the meta object, right? The name of the service. Here, I'm going to replace this text with the description of the service. And then as for the image, sorry, I'm not going to go here. I'm going to add a dynamic source, and we're going to have the image of that service. And we're seeing this custom orders because it's currently showing us just one of the services. We can change this to preview any of our other services. So as you can see, the content is already immediately updated, and none of our content is actually added in here in the theme settings, which is really good. Our content is being stored in the Shopify admin. So if we want to switch themes, if we want to update our theme, if we're using a third-party theme and we don't have automatic updates, carrying across theme settings to a new theme is always a problem. And we don't really want to keep a lot of content in here. So anyway, we save, and now we can visit our store and just go to /pages/services/repairs, and we see that page is already there. If we go to custom orders, right, we see that's already there. Every type of content that I've created, it already has a page created for it. Just the same as when you add a product to your store, you don't need to create a page and then assign the product to it or something, right? You just create a product and immediately there's a product page. It exists. So I hope that makes sense, guys. That's Metaobject Templates. It allows you to create pages for a new type of content on your store. As you can see, once we've created this template, it shows up here as services together with products, collections, and everything else. We just have this new type of content. All right, Metaobject Templates turned into a bit of a tutorial, a bit longer than intended, but let's move on to Flex Sections. Now, unfortunately, I can't actually demonstrate this because it's not out yet. It's just coming soon, but I can show you some clips from the video that they previewed, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. The first thing we see here is that inside of sections, we now have groups, groupings of blocks, whereas previously we just had sections and blocks. Now we have these groups that we can move around, I guess. We can drag these around and we can drag around blocks within the groups. And look at this, we even have a group and another group within that group. So this just means that sections and blocks have gotten a lot more flexible, and they're actually demonstrating that you can drag these around. So if I play this, he actually just grabs the corner of that image and drags it to whatever size he needs it to be. We can drag blocks around now, but it seems like there's much more fine control of what is inside blocks or what is inside these block groups. And this here on the left looks very similar to Figma or Framer. If you're a designer watching this, you've probably worked with Figma, where we have things based on Flexbox. If you're a developer, you understand CSS Flexbox. In Figma as well, you have these like flex layouts and things like that. This means a lot for developers. We're going to have to learn the new way of setting up the schema so that there's sections and groups of blocks inside of sections, right? This kind of setup And there's probably also specific CSS that we'll need to use inside of these so that they work properly. And if you're a store owner, then this just means that once you learn these controls, which are quite easy, but you just need to understand the concept of Flexbox, it's just going to give you so much more control over how your store looks. Your store is not just going to be looking like a store of this particular theme anymore. You're really going to be able to customize it to be very unique. And yeah, they're calling this feature Flex Sections. We don't know when it'll be out. There definitely needs to be some documentation about it released for developers, and I'll be making a tutorial on that as well. Now let's get back to something a little bit more concrete. It isn't such of a big deal, but Dawn 11 is out now, and it seems to be a little bit more optimized for wholesale stores. As I mentioned before, there's going to be that B2B wholesale feature for Shopify Plus. Well, Dawn seems to have some new features as well that is optimized for wholesale. So on product pages, only on product pages, you have this new section available called Quick Order List. This is the section, you'll find it under Add Sections. And here's what it looks like. As you can see, these are all my variants here, and I can like quickly add, whatever amount I need. So it's actually not that quick because it loads like that. But yeah, basically that's one of the more interesting features of Dawn 11. The other thing is like price breaks on volume pricing. So this is also related to wholesale. So in general, just seems as though Shopify is like optimizing things for wholesale stores. But the main reason I wanted to talk about Dawn 11 was also to say that I would probably not update now. I would maybe wait for Dawn 12 or 13 when Flex Sections comes out. I don't know how soon it would come out, maybe in a couple of months, maybe only in 6 months. But if you have a type of store where you update frequently, you don't have any custom code, and it's easy for you to update, then go ahead and update. But if it's difficult for you to update, I would probably wait for Flex Sections to come out. All right, now this next feature is absolutely insane. Shopify Sidekick, it's gonna be like ChatGPT built into your Shopify store, and it's being trained on the Shopify documentation, the Shopify manual, the thing that you never read because it's quite long and boring to read these things. And generally, most people prefer to watch a YouTube video or to contact Shopify support because it's difficult to find the information you need by reading through all this, right? And I actually use ChatGPT to read documentation for me sometimes. There's something called the link reader plugin for ChatGPT. You can give it a link and tell it to read the page, and then you can ask it questions about the page, so I don't actually need to read the entire page. So I use ChatGPT for that, but Sidekick is going to be built into your store. It's going to already have all of this information, and so it's going to be so easy for you to find, like, you can just write, where am I supposed to change, where am I supposed to define meta fields in my store, and it'll tell you exactly where to go, where to click, and things like that. So I think that's really going to speed up the pace at which people learn how to use Shopify, which is awesome. It's also very useful for, like, this example. It's actually analyzing your sales. It can look at your analytics and give you some theories as to why something is happening. Here in the example, he says he's had a drop off in sales. They sell snowboards, right? And it's saying that, well, the dip in sales is probably because there hasn't been much snow. Another thing that it can do, this is what I'm really excited about actually, is that you can tell it, put everything on sale. You can give it instructions of what to do on your store, and it can actually complete those things. So it's not just a chatbot, it's actually an interface through which you can control your store. And I've actually been thinking about this a lot on the bigger picture, not just for Shopify. ChatGPT, for example, I thought, when is that going to be built into software so that we can talk to software rather than clicking buttons? It's going to do things for us when we talk to it. And it seems like Shopify is going to be the first company that's actually going to do this, that's actually going to pull it off. So he says, put everything on sale, and it's generated. It takes you to the discount page with all these fields pre-filled, and all you need to do is click save. And in another video, it shows you how it can help with design. So he's actually said, make my theme look like summer, and it's giving you a color scheme. The color schemes that I was talking about before, generates a new color scheme that's based on summer colors. You can even choose more suitable fonts and things like that. So I'm very excited for Shopify Sidekick, not just because of Shopify, but I want other companies to see this and build this into their products, because whenever I'm learning a new software or something, I want to be able to ask questions. I wish I could have someone experienced sitting next to me so I could ask them something instead of reading through like heaps of documentation and instructions, something that might take me half an hour, when I can just ask a question about it, right? So it's amazing that Shopify has decided to build this into their platform, and I'm really looking forward to using it. Another thing that was announced but isn't actually out yet is improvements to the checkout. So the biggest thing is that there's going to be a one-page checkout available, and it seems like this is going to be available for all stores. Not just Shopify Plus. You're going to be able to choose between a one-page checkout and the normal 3-page checkout that we have now. So that's something that's been requested by many people for years, right? And we finally have a one-page checkout, so that's great. The other thing that's very interesting is checkout extensibility, which is where you can add apps to your checkout. It looks like this is exclusive to Shopify Plus right now. I'm hoping that it'll actually be launched to not only Shopify Plus stores later, maybe, as we've seen with like Shopify Flow, for example. First it was Shopify Plus and then it was everyone else. But this is actually really interesting, because if you can add apps into your checkout, then it makes the entire customer journey much nicer when you have something like local delivery with a date picker, for example, as they show you in this example. This is something that I've actually built for people into their product page or into their cart page, right? Because we weren't able to build this into the checkout unless you're on Shopify Plus. Upsells and things like that as well, right now just for Shopify Plus, but hopefully for other stores in future. Another interesting upcoming feature is the ability to duplicate your store. This is very useful when you want to work on your store and you need somewhere to preview those changes, right? And I know that many people right now use an unpublished theme that you're working on, and then you either manually move those changes across to your published theme, or you publish the unpublished theme, but that can be sometimes problematic if you're constantly creating these copies of your main theme and then working on that copy and then publishing that copy. That can cause problems with like apps that you've had installed, and it's also just like a little bit disorganized, I think. Well, that's going to be now built into Shopify. So through your settings, you're going to be able to create a development store, and you're going to be able to copy the data across. So the files, the merchandise data, products and everything, and then you can import the theme as well. So to create an exact copy of your store that you can use for working on things before you actually publish them. That's going to be very cool and useful for stores that are doing a lot of customizations. Finally, we have Shopify Collective, and I'm only talking about this last because it's US only, and it's also kind of not web development related, which is the stuff I usually talk about. But I think it's so interesting because it's really a different way of thinking for many e-commerce stores. This is basically like drop shipping, but from other Shopify stores. You partner with other Shopify stores instead of competing with them. If you sell maybe even similar products, those products could be used together, couldn't they? And so Shopify Collective allows you to include products from other Shopify stores on your own store. You install a Shopify Collective app, and then you can browse these different products, and then you can request pricing. You can ask if that Shopify store is willing to partner with you. And if they are, you can import those products to your own store. And when your customers buy those products, then you only have to ship your own products, and those products from other stores will be shipped from them. Right, so this is a way that you can get more sales. You take your cut off the top, obviously, and it's also much more convenient for your customer because they can get everything they need in one purchase. And yeah, it's just very clever of Shopify, I think, to do this. So guys, I hope I covered like most of the most important things. Obviously, there is a lot and I maybe missed something. I definitely recommend going through this website and seeing what interests you. And if you want me to go more in depth on any of these topics, then please let me know in the comments. especially for like the Metaobjects tutorial and stuff. Let me know what you would use that for, because I'm really looking for like examples that I can show. That's all for today. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please like the video as well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.